My brother moved his pregnant wife into my late son's bedroom without asking me. I came home to find them setting up a crib where his race car bed used to be. I lost my 8-year-old son Tommy 3 years ago to leukemia. His room has stayed exactly the same since then. His toy cars lined up on the windowsill, his superhero posters on the walls, his favorite stuffed dinosaur still on the pillow. It's the only place I can still feel close to him. Last month, my brother Derek asked if he and his wife could crash at my place for a few weeks while they looked for a bigger apartment. She's 7 months pregnant and they needed more space. I said yes because that's what family does. The first week went smoothly. Derek helped with groceries and Sarah kept to herself mostly. They were using the guest room downstairs and seemed grateful for the help. Sarah mentioned once that the baby was due in 2 months and they were getting anxious about finding their own place. By the second week, I started noticing little comments. Sarah would walk past Tommy's room and make faces. "It's such a waste of space," she'd mutter to Derek when she thought I couldn't hear. "That's the biggest bedroom upstairs and nobody even uses it." Derek would shush her, but I could tell the conversations were happening behind closed doors. I'd catch them whispering and they'd stop when I entered the room. The tension was building, but I figured they'd find their own place soon enough. Then Sarah started being more direct. "You know, keeping that room like a museum isn't healthy," she said over breakfast one morning. "Tommy's been gone for 3 years. Maybe it's time to let someone else get some use out of it." I told her that wasn't her decision to make. Derek just stared at his cereal and said nothing. "I'm just saying, we're family too," Sarah continued, "and we're about to have a baby. Your nephew, doesn't that matter?" I walked away before saying something I'd regret. Everything came to a head yesterday. I had to leave work early because my boss sent me home with a migraine. I pulled into my driveway around 2 p.m. and immediately noticed Derek's truck was still there. He was supposed to be at work. I heard voices upstairs as soon as I walked in. Hammering, scraping sounds. My heart started racing as I climbed the stairs toward Tommy's room. The door was wide open. Derek and Sarah were inside, assembling a white crib right where Tommy's little race car bed used to be. All of his things were shoved into cardboard boxes stacked in the corner. The superhero posters had been torn down, leaving behind strips of tape and small tears in the paint. "What are you doing?" I asked, my voice shaking. Sarah looked up from the instruction manual without any shame. "We needed a nursery. This room has the best light and it's right next to ours. Don't worry, we carefully packed everything. We can store the boxes in your garage." I told them to put it all back, right now. Derek stood up from where he'd been screwing the crib legs together. "Come on, you're being unreasonable. It's just a room. Tommy's gone and we have a living baby coming. You can't keep a shrine forever." "It's not a shrine," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's his room. It's your house, and this is the most practical space for a nursery," Sarah said, going back to the manual like the conversation was over. "We'll only be here a few more weeks anyway." That's when I looked closer at what they'd done. They hadn't just moved Tommy's furniture. They'd started painting. There were primer patches on the walls where his posters had been. But worse than that, much worse, I noticed they'd painted over the doorframe. The height marks were gone. The ones where I'd measured Tommy every birthday since he could walk. Little pencil lines with dates next to them. Tommy age 3, Tommy age 5, Tommy age 7. The last one from right before he got sick. 3 years of birthdays. 3 years of watching him grow. 3 years of him standing against that doorframe giggling while I marked how tall he'd gotten. All of it covered in fresh white paint. I pulled out my phone and called the police. I told them I had trespassers in my home who were destroying my property and refusing to leave. Derek's been calling me crazy and telling everyone I chose a dead child over my future nephew.